4, 3, 2, 1.
Whether you've been married 1 or 20 plus years, at some point you realize you married into crazy. And that's what our show is all about. If your marriage or relationship is compassionate, real, accountable, zealous and yielding, or just plain crazy, Snooks and Lovey offer love, laughter, and a dose of reality as they unpack this thing called marriage. Sit back, relax, and get your ear hustle on. It's time to start the conversation.
Yo, what's up? It's your boy E.T. Look, if you're looking to or you got to raise the bar on your marriage, you gotta click the link and get into Married into Crazy, y'all. I'm telling you, this coaching is gonna take your relationship to another level. Now look, you already know you need to raise the bar. You know that already. So stop thinking or overthinking and click that link, and Marriage into Crazy is going to take you and your spouse to marital bliss. Now you know. Click the button. Let's go.
Welcome back to another episode of the Married into Crazy podcast with Snooks and Lovey.
I'm Snooks.
I'm Lovey. And as always, we thank you for coming back. You know, we love chopping it up with you about all things marriage, particularly when the marriage is crazy or striving to be crazy. Why are you laughing?
In a good way.
In a good way. So explain what crazy means.
Crazy is an acronym for compassionate, real, accountable, zealous, and yielding.
And sometimes just plain old crazy.
Just plain crazy. But it was funny when you say that, when you say striving to be crazy. Because, I mean, there are some people that I think they just put their best foot forward to just be plain old crazy. Like, not in the compassionate, real, accountable, zealous, and yielding way, but just crazy.
Sometimes, you know, you never know what's fueling the craziness. I can't think of a different term. But hey, we thank you for coming. So we've been married for 27 plus years. And over the course of the last 4 or 5 years, we've had this podcast, and we've been bringing you a bunch of different subject matter experts as well as other couples to talk about all things marriage. Overcoming the adversity of marriage, overcoming the different things that we see, but also celebrating the joy of marriage. And as you know, if you've been married one day, or you've been married for 30 plus years.
Wait, one day?
One day.
Okay.
If you're married one day, or I was going to say 1 day to 100 years, but you know, or for any lengthy period, there's some adversity that's involved.
We're hoping it's not one day adversity, though. Unfortunately, he does say one day because we had that on our one day. First day we got married. We had some challenges.
On the first day we got married? Oh, yeah, we did. She's looking at me like, oh, what?
I'm like, bro, what? You forgot?
We did.
Yeah.
It wasn't even 24 hours in the books, and we had some challenges.
That's so funny because I never thought about that until, you know, from one day to, so I don't know if that's, is that saying something? Like we are overachievers, we are overcomers, we are conquerors, whatever it is, because from day one.
Yeah. And so are you. So are you. And it could be all joy, but you know, it might have been the cake tastings. It might have been picking out the dress, the tuxedo colors, you know, the colors of the what's it called, the invitations or whatever. There might have been some adversity there. It comes in so many different sizes and shapes.
Yeah. So let me just say this, though, just so to ease the minds of those out there when they be like, ooh, so what happened? It wasn't like, oh, his girlfriend showed up or.
No, I told her to stay home.
His secret family came or anything like that. It wasn't anything like that. So I didn't want people to think ill of you. So. Oh,
I appreciate that. But my secret family was there. They were working the event. And no, just playing. Hey, do us a quick favor. Go over wherever you're listening to us, please. If you haven't already done so, go ahead and subscribe, right? Hit that like button, leave a comment wherever you are. If you're on YouTube, please leave a comment and definitely subscribe and tell a friend. Tell anybody that you think could actually benefit from a discussion, being a fly on the wall to conversations that take place between a married couple. There might be some things that you might pick up. You might be some things like, we don't want to be like them at all.
I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole.
Please do. And while you're doing that, jump on over to marriedintocrazy.com.
to see how we could bless your marriage in all kind of ways.
What she said.
What I said.
So
We have gear. You see my shirt. Okay, cool.
So we have hit a milestone.
Did we not? We ain't gonna finish about all the stuff we got.
Nah, go to marriedandcrazy.com and check it out.
Okay, I'll leave it at that. Go ahead, sir.
No, I'm not going to oversell.
No, I said I'm gonna leave it at that, and I said go ahead. So
Okay. No, I was going to say that we hit this milestone, right? So I don't know why I'm smiling, and it was a great weekend. Had a phenomenal weekend, but it was on the tail of something really sad.
Yeah, it was a very sad occasion. So Saturday, June 22nd, we celebrated, or I'll say celebrate, but
Celebrate the life.
yeah, well, this is the 1 year anniversary of our son's passing. He passed away on June 22nd, 2023, and Saturday was...
Hold on, I got a problem with that. I always have. Not just you.
2023?
No. When people say, oh, when your son passed, our son didn't pass. He was murdered.
Okay, gotcha.
And it's an unsolved murder. And there's this thing inside my gut. Whenever we say, oh, our son passed away, he didn't pass away. Our son was murdered. And I just have to say that because that's the truth. And it's not like he had cancer or he was ill and he faded away into the night. No, he was gunned down. And so, I'm sorry. That may be a little too graphic for some of you, but that's exactly what transpired.
I mean, it is what it is. It is the truth. It is what happened. I don't know. You know, it's like, I don't know. I don't want to say I was dreading that day, you know. A lot of people when it first happened last year, the one thing that kept coming up was get through the first, the first birthday, the first holiday, Christmas, whatever it is, get through the first, and then the first anniversary. It's crazy that it still doesn't, I feel like maybe it's crazy to me that it still doesn't feel like it's real. I've said it before, I find myself looking for him still. When I'm walking, where would I walk? No, when I'm driving down the street and I see a light-skinned little curly hair young man, and I'm like, oh, I catch myself, and I'm like, oh, of course it's not him, but still living on that, what is that, hamster wheel? It's going around in circles and circles and circles and never ending, wondering how do we get here, going through the guilt of every wrong thing I've ever done as a mother. If I would have did this different, maybe that wouldn't have happened. What is that called? The butterfly effect? The butterfly effect? Something like that. So, like the one thing could have changed the whole outcome of something else or whatever. So that's a thing that, we struggle with. I struggle with. I can't say we. So it was, I was dreading the day, and, but it actually turned out to be a really, really good day. It was a really, really good day. And I want to make that a tradition for what we did. So, we talked before about Caitlin's kitchen. Our son's name is Kaelin, and he loved to cook. And there was a whole story about the side of our house. One day he showed up and he wasn't even living here anymore. And he was like, Mom, I'm going to make a garden. And I was like, okay, where you making a garden? He goes, on the side of the house. I was like, bro, you don't even live here. How you going to make a garden on our side of the house? He said, Mom, we got all this space over here. I'm going to make a garden. So he goes out to the side of the house and he digs this big giant hole and just destroys the whole area. And he left. And
Destroyed. Like, you ever seen, what was that show? Holes?
Holes.
We had our own version of holes on the side of that house.
Holes.
This boy just dug holes everywhere. I mean, and one of them was like a massive
It was like a huge giant hole. And I looked out there and because I was watching him, it's hot. And I was watching, I'm like, what is he doing? But whatever, I'm like, no, you have to test the ground for the soil, whatever. So he comes in. He was like, yeah, okay. I'm going to go now. I said, bro, I said, what you mean you going to go? I said, look at the side of the house. He's like, I'm not done yet. I said, so when you coming back? He said, I don't know, Mom. I'll be back, though. And I was like, Kaelin. He said, Mama, because he's the only one who called me Mama. He said, Mama. And I was like, boy. And he just started laughing. He's like, Mama, okay, I'm going to come back. I'm going to fix it. And he never came back to fix it. I mean, he came back, but he never fixed it. And I would always bring it up. I'm like, oh, you going on the side of the house? It's hot. Or we doing this, or we don't, blah, 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 whatever. It was always something.
for years.
I mean, years. The backyard, I don't say the whole backyard, but that side of the house, this is the side you really couldn't see anyway. But it looks so janky. So we, I won't say we, because it was actually Lovey's idea to finish the garden for him. And that's what we did.
So we got a
I
banner.
did a little bit.
So we got a banner with his picture, and it says Kaelin's Kitchen. It hangs on the fence. Real nice all-weather banner, and which I had to get approval from all the women in the house. His sisters had to have the final approval on what it looked like, because the way the banner looks now is not what I started with. I had all these elaborate ideas and, showing gardening on there and hands in the dirt. And they were like, this looks like a commercial. We don't want anything to do with this.
Yeah, they did say that.
So we changed the color scheme, everything to their liking. And I went ahead to, I got some gear from, I'll even shout them out. We don't get paid by them, but their products are good. And I'm just really pleased with it. It's called Vigo Garden and Vigo Garden.
Okay.
And they got these above ground raised beds that are just absolutely beautiful. This terracotta color, and set it up and put it all together and figured it out as we went, and went over to the nursery and had to talk to some people about, the right soil to get and certain plants. And the whole thing is we're only planting the things that, with the exception of the zucchini, only planting the things that our son liked. Tomatoes, lots of peppers. This boy loved peppers. Mm-hmm. And as of right now, and then citrus, we got a blood orange citrus tree that I think I'm killing, and already with the transplant.
2 days later.
And an avocado tree that we planted as well, which is actually weathering the storm of me. And so we got the kids involved. So the idea was to get all the grandkids. And of course, Isaiah lives with us, but we got his sisters, and they're hanging out for the week. And we got out there early before it got hot. This day was 105 degrees. But we got out there early, got them in the dirt. They helped, put the soil in. They did everything from soup to nuts, and digging the hole in the dirt and placing the plant, the whole 9 yards. And the kids thoroughly enjoyed themselves when they weren't complaining.
So let me just add something into this. If you have never, ever, ever in your life smelled fermented grass or whatever it is, we have green waste and it comes weekly, right? So Lovey was like, no, we're going to save some or whatever so we can put it down in the beds or whatever it is. So I was like, okay. I I went out. We went outside, and I was like, I thought the neighbor's dog was like had came and messed in our yard. And I was like, what the heck? What is that smell? And he's in there getting the stuff. And
It's like composting, except instead of using a true composter, spinning it and all of that, I just had it in the green waste. But I would go out there periodically, stir it up, mix it up, chomp it up, all that. And she did not appreciate it.
I did not appreciate it. And neither did the kids. I was like, what the heck is that smell? And Lovey, he just kept going, and the granddaughters, they were just like, ew, it stinks over here. And I was like, it smelled like pig, it smelled like dog mess. And so Ashanti came out, and she was like, woo, what is that? I just was like, I was blown away by the stench of it all. So we got the Lovey had sticks, and he got all the soil and put it down, and did all the prepping stuff. So he had to do the water things, whatever. What is that? The irrigation. I was like, you go, Lovey. So we went inside. I went inside and washed everything. I was like, I don't want any remnants. And so, it was really, really beautiful because we were all out there. Our two girls, Ashanti, Kiki, and then Olena, Eliana, and Zay, Lovey, and I. All 7 of us were outside. And then we came inside. We had a nice big brunch. And then we went back outside again and planted the peppers, the cilantro, the whatever else was in there that, to be planted. And then Ashanti and Kiki and Lovey, they did the blood orange tree. They planted that. I picked the lemons. I have a lemon tree, Myers lemon. So we were just over in that area, and we were all together.
Everyone had to have their hats, their gloves. Went out and bought kids gardening gloves so they could have that and be special. And it was fun. We did that.
Yeah. So then, like he said, it was 105 degrees. And so we were like, okay, we're getting in the pool, So after we did all that, got in the pool, and we just all hung out in the pool. Lovey went and barbecued some hamburgers and hot dogs, and we had, ribs on hand. And after we ate, we sat down and all ate again together. And we actually sat down in the formal area. They like to come over and they like to play at the table, the big table. So I was like, you know what, we're going to have special dinner tonight, and we're going to go sit down. And so we went and sat down in the formal area. And after we ate dinner, we went outside. Lovey had set up the screen, and we went outside and we watched Teenage Kraken or something.
Yeah.
But made s'mores. It was evening by that time, but it was just the fact that we were all together. Because initially we talked about going out of town to Monterey. But I felt like I asked him, I said, babe, would you be okay if we didn't go out of town? We just wanted to just kind of make sure that we were together, especially because of the day.
And unplug. Phone stayed on Do Not Disturb the entire weekend. And on this day, we just didn't want any noise, any distractions.
Yeah, I actually made a post that morning, though, just saying how I can't believe it had been a year, and just reflecting on the year, and just how much, obviously, I miss them and, stuff like that. And then after that, I made it early, and then we got off the phone, and put the phone down, and then, we just made sure that we spent the day together laughing. There was a lot of sad moments, I know I had a lot of sad moments, the girls too, the older girls. The kids were oblivious, it was about them having fun. So I was like, what I want to do is, I know that there are other people that have these customs or traditions of celebrating, the day that they lost their loved one. I wanted to make sure that day was joyous, that they remember the day we went gardening, the day that we swam, and we watched movies, and we ate at the big table all in the same day. You know, we do all that stuff anyway, but to experience it all for them on that one day, you know, just seeing how happy they were, you know, we were really in tune to them, and had my moments, you know, but I didn't it would they were more far, they were further apart than I thought that they, you know, might be, where I'm just like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna be debilitated and I can't move. So, you know, they made my day, because they were truly happy, even though they were around the stinky smelling dog mess, whatever smell that, good Lord.
Yeah, I got put in timeout because Isaiah was screaming, "What is that smell?" And I said, "Oh, it's boo boo." And he was like, "What?" I was like, "He's like, well, what are we gonna do?" And I said, "Oh, we have to lick it."
It's so ridiculous.
And Isaiah was like, "Wait, what?" And I told him, "So I'm gonna lick it." I was like, "Oh, I'm just playing." "Oh, no, time out." He calls me dad now, so he was testing the waters with it for I guess intermittently. I was going back and forth between dad and papa, but he's gotten to the point where he's just calling me dad, and he's like, "Nah, dad, you're in timeout."
Timeout, dad. And but then one part too, and Lovey, they were really confused, like, we have to lick it, like this stuff was in there. They're like, okay, but Papa said, the girls, the little girls, but Papa said we have to lick it. And Ashanti and I looked at each other, you know, and Lovey, he likes to keep the joke going. So I'm like, you can't get mad at Isaiah when he wants to keep the joke going. I said, no, you don't. And Eliana says, but Papa said, I said, didn't nobody think about what Papa said? I said, Papa was playing. And Ashanti goes, yeah, baby, Papa was just playing. And that's when Isaiah was like, Dad, you're in timeout.
Yeah, so it was a great day, but I think it's, you know, we're sharing our story with you, and you're getting to know us a little bit more as we go through these adversities. The year of firsts, and, you know, phase 3, Caitlin's kitchen is now complete. I mean, there's gonna be some tweaking here and there, but what was a vision a year ago of, oh, we should do something like that, it's to see it come to fruition is really cool. But it's the taking control of the narrative. What happened. There's no changing what happened to our son. That outcome is the outcome. But we have a choice. We can either be, you know, that day comes every year and we can wallow and be like, oh, and immerse ourselves in the things that we can never change. There's nothing wrong with nostalgia and the memories. That's what we're supposed to do, and share those. And there's nothing wrong with feeling sad and feeling that grief that comes along with it. But to take control of the narrative and say, you know, but we're going to take command and make this a celebration of his life, and teach our kids and our grandkids that what we can control, we should control. And we can control how we actually deal with the memory of our son. And it wasn't going to be just, I wish he was here. I mean, there was that, but then, you know what I mean? It could be negative and sad, or it could still be sad but positive. And we chose the positive side of it. And I think that in our relationships, we have to learn to shift and take control of the narrative.
So, I mean, I totally agree with that. 'Cause on any given day, you know, I'm okay, you know, but you know how grief is. You're okay in one specific moment, and then in the next moment, I'm laughing, ha ha ha, whatever, and then I'm crying, and you're like, wait, what happened? Did you hurt yourself? Did you? And I'm like, no, I don't know why, or whatever. I mean, I know why, you know, but for some people, that might work for them, right, like that. And then for other people, you may be debilitated and may not be able to get out of the bed or whatever.
And that happens.
yeah, and that does happen. Hopefully, those happen way less than they do often,
Or infrequently.
infrequently. That's where
'cause
I'm
there's-
like, what is that word? Yes.
Snooks can tell you. I mean, there have been times where I'm like, I'm fine for days on end, weeks on end. And then I end up crying myself to sleep. Both of our pillows are stained with tears. But there's also moments where we laugh and laying in the same places where we're laughing and telling stories and recounting some of the dumb things that our son did.
Ridiculous.
Some of the ridiculous things he did.
Ridiculous things.
And there's lots of regrets and there's lots of joy. It's all hand in hand. And I think it just culminated in, us really, truly developing and breaking ground with Caitlin's Kitchen, and that the kids have ownership of it. And they love going over to look at the plants. And
oh yeah, because now it's a daily. Can we go outside to see what? Because they're with us. This is week 2 that they're with us, and every day, like Livy said, they're going out there. They're looking at what they did on Saturday, and they're like, "Ooh, it grew so much more. Ooh, look at this. Ooh, can we? It still kind of stinks over there a little bit to me. I go over there and I touch it a little bit, and I'm like, okay, I'm out. I got to go back on the other side of the house.
Green Acres is the place.
We are
for
literally
me.
Green Acres, exactly, because he's fine with that. Whatever. What she say? New York.
It smells
is-
like it did when we moved here 18 years ago.
Yeah, but that was far away. Now I just open up the door and go outside, and I was like, how long is this stench gonna be here? Because I can't. It stinks to me. But that's kind of like you have the bad, and then from the bad we're gonna get this multitude of greatness. The fruit, not the fruit, but the vegetables and the things that we're gonna eat. We're gonna be able to go to our garden outside to go pick up something.
There's something to be said about going out and, I need some lemon for my tea, and you go out and you pick your lemon to use in the tea. Our lemons are awesome.
Ooh, my lemons are so. He
And
says
then-
ours. They're mine.
And then
My
we'll
lemons.
eventually very soon we'll be able to get tomatoes and pepper. There's a jalapeno. Before I even got a chance to transplant this jalapeno, it's actually an Anaheim pepper, is growing, and I'm like, ooh, I can't wait. That's going to be the first one. And then that's the other thing. When the harvest comes, I want the kids to actually participate in the harvest of bringing in the food and all that, so they can actually learn this process.
Mm-hmm.
And there's something about, I have to learn more as I go, but teaching them about the circle of life, and how even the things that smell in, we put rotting things in the ground, and as that's decaying,
It's bringing forth.
it's bringing forth life. And then the fact that our son's picture's there, it's going to be a good thing.
Yeah, it's kind of like a place to go to. I don't want to say stay connected, but feeling that closeness. We have what is that? The chimes, the wind chimes, inscription that we were blessed with from an anonymous person last year. We got those, and now we have something that connects us to a love of his that he really wanted to do. And just kind of thinking on how things play out. We're even in marriage, the bad parts that happen, and then it produces something really good or really great. That is kind of like synonymous to our story, when in the beginning, when year 4 happened and I wanted a divorce, but we made it through. We waded through the
muck and the mire of my wife's ways.
whatever, all the stinky minutia, whatever.
The manure of marriage.
The manure. Yeah, but I mean, and look at us now. we're still together. He still gets put in the headlock every now and again. No, we don't.
When
do
Isaiah's not
domestic
put me in
violence.
timeout.
Yeah, he always. But I mean, some things it was worth doing, and it was something that I'm not outdoorsy. I'm not any. I got out of my comfort zone, and I was able to get my hands, not get my hands dirty, but get my gloves dirty, and put the work in. So, if it's important, this is the lesson about how we connect it to the marriage. If it's important, and if it's what you feel like it's worth it, if that project is really worth it, the project of your marriage and making it work and watching it go from something that's stinky to something you watch it bloom and blossom and become beautiful. You have this big garden of love and whatever, don't set it aside because you're uncomfortable with it, So
Yeah, and it does. It gets messy. It gets underneath your nails.
it didn't get under mine.
And Isaiah freaked out because some of the compost got on his hands and on his gloves. It was on his gloves and his wrist. He freaked out.
I don't blame him because it was
But
stinky.
it's one of those things where you have to go through all that, right? And like you said, you go from the stinkiness to the nourishment. And your marriage is your marriage. It's not supposed to look like anybody else's marriage. And so what might be nourishing and amazing in somebody else's marriage might be the stinky stuff in yours. And what stinks in yours, or is actually like the compost, if you will, that has to be down at the base level in order to break down a little bit more, in order to provide nourishment for the future, so you can have a harvest in the future. It requires time to toil in the soil and all of that. And
Toil in the soil.
we're just learning that there's a lot of things that happen in our lives that if you take a time and a moment to step back, you'll see that there's lessons in everything. And even in the year firsts, and as we develop Kaelin's Kitchen, out of the tragedy, there's still some good, or we're finding good in the tragedy. And I think that's what we wanted to talk about today. And trust, we're not always going to dwell here, but it's very real. I mean, the book came out. It's funny, all these things come together. We have people reaching out from all over the United States, which is amazing.
And I just want to say, just thank you to everyone that has sent text messages, that left messages, emails. I mean, we have been shown a lot of love when we thank you for just loving on us, and just showing that you care, that means so much. It really does mean a lot. And I feel like too, it's like it pays to be vulnerable and transparent, because people see that we are real people. We have real tragedies, we have real joys and everything. But I just thankful, and I'm grateful. Someone hit me on what is that, Messenger, just to say I'm going to get your book. Someone I didn't even know, I'm going to purchase your book. They didn't want to do the ebook. They said I have to touch the pages. I don't blame you. I understand. But I just, thank you. And to those that did reach out and maybe you haven't gotten a response back, your comments have not gone unnoticed. They really touched our hearts. They touched mine,
Yeah. And heartfelt thank you to the other families, the other parents that contributed as well, their chapters to the book Out of Order, which is available on Amazon in either Kindle or the or I should say the paperback version. But it's not just our story. It's also the stories of other parents that have lost a child out of order. And we encourage you that if you know someone that has lost a child out of order, gift them a book. It's better than I ever anticipated from the standpoint of providing healing and helping And this is not my words. This is what other people are saying. And we're just thankful that something positive, something helpful is coming out of the tragedies that even created a need for something like this. So we are truly grateful. And we're not quite sure what God's doing with us yet. You know, the melding of that. I've been to gun prevention or gun violence prevention rallies at the Capitol in Sacramento, and I'm doing things that I never thought we would do. We're doing presentations on grief and loss, and not something that we ever thought we would do, but God's working on us, and more times than not, through you, He's working on us, and hopefully through us, He's providing something of value for all of you as well.
Yeah.
So, with all that said, until the next time,
be blessed.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to the Married Into Crazy podcast with Snooks and Lovey. Please like, subscribe to, and review the show wherever you access it, and tell a friend about us. Visit marriedintocrazy.com and see how Snooks and Lovey can bless your marriage directly.